Well, hello everyone. Hope this is coming through pretty good. It's the first time I've streamed using this particular form for YouTube. Hey guys, what's up? Hope you guys got the notification that I was going live. I know Scott didn't get it the other week. Alex C, yeah, you missed Death Week last week, but that's all right. You can always catch up. It's a nice fun subject to take down at least 5+ hours of talking about talking about death and unlife and such. At 3 a.m. for some people, JP, it's evening. I'm glad I could at least give you guys a little something just to chew on, sit back, relax, just have a talk. Okay, this week we are given a challenge, so we're gonna talk about it. And the challenge is splitting the party. So, of course, this could be just a 3-minute video of should you split the party, and the answer is no. All right, see you guys. I'll see you later. Let's turn this off here. No, that's not what we're gonna do. We're gonna go through this the entire week, and of course, each day we have a WTF. Yeah. Are we going? Is it a good thing to split the party? Of course not. But we don't do smart things like that, right? We go down a deep rabbit hole of what we can do with that topic. Yeah, Prue says, I'm here. Sweet topic. Someone brilliant thought of that. I wonder who. All right. So of course, we all know when we are in a role-playing game, we're all sitting around a table. I'm just going to a little preamble. Maybe it's when people want to join in later on, whatever. But anyway, we're all at the table, even if it's our digital table. And of course, we don't want to split the party. Why don't we want to split the party? Well, let's go through the math of splitting the party, right? You've got 4 people, 4 players, and your dungeon master, your storyteller, your flame tender, whoever it is. And they have to give 25% of their attention to each of the people around their table. You've got 4 people. If each of them has their own story, that's 25% of the time. If you're doing a 4-hour game, it mathematically goes that each person has 1 hour of time. And that means that when you split your attention, the person that gets an hour of their time, the other 3 get 3 hours. That's 1 hour less for them, and they have to sit aside. In other words, there's like 3 hours not for them and 1 hour for this one individual. And that can be a problem, especially when your players are passionate about what they want to do. They are deep into what they want to do, and you really don't want to break off the attention. So there's also the problem of spotlight hogs, right? Those are the individuals that are like, hey, my character's Mr. McMysterious, and I like to go off on my own and do my own thing around the city, and it's all about me. Forget everybody else. In which case, not only is that rude and selfish and kind of like a-hole territory, you're taking away from somebody else's specific story, and you're being the spotlight hog, therefore taking away other people's fun. Also, if I spent about 10 to 15 minutes and saying meanwhile, and then go back, right? And that's what a great word, right? Like, okay, meanwhile, the other players, and then you just turn away from them, which also means that if you want to be that spotlight hog, it can backfire by doing exactly that, right? Like, I want to go off and be Mr. Mysterious on my own. And you go, sure, okay, you do that. And then all of a sudden, DM turns away from that player, turns back to the other 3 and goes, all right, guys, what are you guys going to do? And therefore, you have now created yourself, hey, only one Des. What's up? Good morning there, man. So now you have the situation where you have one person who's the outsider, and everybody else, the other 3, have all their time put together. They get 75% of the time. And now you're sitting out because you wanted to be off on your own. All right. Well, today is Monster Monday. So we're going to reshape the narrative. We're going to come up with ways that splitting the party is actually a good thing, or at least we can turn it into a good thing. Um, Splitting the attention of the game master and dungeon master, not a very good idea, neither for yourself, not for the people around you, not for the dungeon master at all. Even the dungeon master that thinks it's a good idea, it's not good, because now you have to juggle two situations. So yes, does it mean does it mean that players and DMs should shape the narrative to make a good excuse for them to be together? Yeah, yeah, it is a good thing, right? Just decide the party's going to be together, and then of course you rationalize why it is your character's going along. It's the adage of the old A Team show, right? BA, Mr. T, I pity the fool. He hated flying, and he always had to fly to this new place or whatever. And of course, he'd balk at the idea, but someone would knock him out, take him with him. He'd go on the adventure. He'd get to the other side, be pissed off that someone tricked him into flying, and then they go about their business. Foolish QA say, I tend to rotate focus every few minutes, about the length of a long combat round, maybe 7 to 10 minutes a player. I don't mind when they split, though. It gives time for more focused dialogue and RP. Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a great idea. That way, even if you have to turn away from other players for dramatic purposes, right? A player is leaping across a dangerous crevice and needs to make a skill roll, or use some kind of a skill or attribute roll or something, saving throw to leap across the crevice, and let's turn away. You know what I mean? It's like, wait, did I make it? Should I roll with it? Let's hold off on that. Let's turn away. Let's go back to, the person talking to the trying to negotiate with the tribalists who are hunting down one of your player characters or something, and then let's go back to the danger. It's actually a good technique, like in television scenes, movies, books, graphic novels, to break away from the action or the drama at a particular time and then come back to it. It's not necessary for you to automatically find out what the result is, because the tension of the result in itself is a great tension generator, so that everyone is waiting for the next thing to come back, right? Prue says, Kiwi, I like it. Got a Kiwi icon in there. What the hell? That's awesome. A party, Scott Post is a party taking any of the telepathic abilities can split up but still be together as far as the role play is concerned. It's the Bruce Willis Die Hard movie where he's on the radio with the police officer that's downstairs while he's upstairs in the Nakatomi building. That movie is lauded, strangely enough, as a very great buddy cop movie, despite the fact that they actually never get to see each other until the end of the movie, because they're in audio contact the entire time. They get the role play. They have the little intense thing like, why are you a beat cop? And I went to get Twinkies, and what's going on? The bad guy and the good guy get to talk together. They get their little, their threats and stuff, and yippee-ki-yay and the whole 9 yards. And it was just over a radio message. So the eclipse phase telepathic link where everyone's in the future, and they've got like the holographic heads up display in their vision, and they get to communicate, is absolutely part and parcel of being together. Shadowrun, Cyberpunk does the same thing. Alex says, if you allow telepathy, yeah, of course, if you allow it, it is a great way to keep everyone together. Des says it gives characters unnecessary suspense. Yeah. Alex even says, Alex C says, well, once that beloved lone wolf drops, then you set your focus on the rest of the players. Exactly. And Foolish Q says, thank you. And exactly like DBJ said, it can be used to make good cliffhangers and keep tension high. And there's a way to encourage, like, maybe this is the wrong way to say this, to train people. Sorry, Scott Post's best buddy cop romance Christmas movie ever. Romance. I never thought about it like that. Some people debate whether it's an actual Christmas movie. Die Hard. What the hell just happened to my chat? The chat went away, guys. What in the world? There we go. That's bizarre. Okay, anyway, Prue Prue says it's stuff like that I want. I have really amazeballs players, no jerks, no lone wolves, no spotlight hogs. They would never split up in an adversarial way. I want to handle the split party in a good way. Yeah, rut-roo. Yeah, I don't know what happened to chat. So okay, so we this is enough of the preamble. Let's go to splitting the party, right? Let's actually do this. All right. So today our subject is Monster Monday. So we can come up with, and there are plenty of monster, creature, or even NPC encounters where the party can and should be split from one place to another. So an example, a classic and perfect example would be a flying creature versus a creature in the water. So the PCs are Raggy. Sorry, whatever. Oh, hey Scoob, I'm stoked. So the idea of splitting the party would be something aerial and something in the water, something either under the ground or in the in the water. So the PCs are on a boat, and you have like flying harpies or I don't know, kobold mounted pterodactyl riders or something, or albino goblins on black ravens, and they're like flying after everyone. and then below them are like sharks or like dragon turtles. Let me see if I can pronounce it. Sahogan? Doesn't matter. Lizard folk or something. And so, giant alligators. And you could have this idea where, hey, maybe the alligators were waiting for the flying creatures to come by. The players are in the middle. So you have this thing where the players have to fight what's above them. And then maybe to get away from what's above them, they have to go in the water. The ones in the water are like, I need to get the hell out the water because there's something in the water. I'd rather fight the things above us. And so the party could be split in such a way that some are in the water, some are in a boat, some are flying, and you can go back and forth between them all. Scott Poe says the rogue scouting ahead, the ranger zigzagging, hunting while the party travels. Both come to mind as positive splits, and the idea that maybe the recon party members, right? The rogue scouts ahead, the ranger scouts ahead, the barbarian maybe scouts ahead, or what have you, that they encounter something that maybe the PCs do not, and splitting that. And then of course the tension is going to build where the one scouting detects something and has to let the rest of the party know, and then maybe that encounter prevents them from coming back to the party. And of course, you've always got the players that are like, we have to find out what's going on. How are we going to know? And then come up with ideas like, let me make a perception roll or whatever. And then maybe that's a precursor to an ambush, possibly. Maybe there are like the hunters are trying to surround the party and they're riding on dinosaurs or something. They're, orc raiders, assassins, and they're also sneaking through the woods and trying to, surround the party. And that is a great way to separate them. And then you can even have, again, me and my specialty, I love the environment. You can have the environment be a factor in separating the party. So the party's going through the woods, and maybe there's a somewhat dry, like ravine that during the rainy season it's full of water, but now there's nothing there. And so the scout is on the other side of the ravine and the party's on one side. And then maybe that's the precursor to the attack. To the enemy wants to split the party. There are many monsters that want to split the party. There are predatory creatures that want to ensure that, they don't want to attack 6 well-armed individuals, but they will attack a single individual that's maybe lagging behind or from the middle, or hoping to chase the party and have them split up. That's a a great way of doing things as well. Also, you could have, like, since we're in a forest, you could have a forest fire and smoke that disrupts everyone. Yep, there goes the chat again. Not sure why it's doing that, but that's bizarre. I guess I have to hover over it. That's Shaggy's the Beastmaster sends his cowardly talking beast companion. That'd be pretty hilarious too. That would be pretty funny. Foolish Kiwi says the party splitting is also a good time for an apt side characters to swoop in and make shady deals. For example, the rogue paying off the town guards without the paladin knowing. And you know, oftentimes we punish or admonish the character that's doing the thing the other players don't know about, right? But in many ways, that's the best time for, like, the quote unquote evil or nefarious character to perform something that the good character is, like, against. You know, like you just said, like the rogue making the deal with the city guard because the paladin disapproves of bribing the city guards or something like that, right? It's the cleric that goes off and wants to speak to the local parishioners or a member of their faith. And again, balancing how much time you set aside. I love what was said earlier in the chat about just taking maybe 7 to 10 minutes, no more than a combat round or two with that individual, and then coming back. And that way you can set up the tension where, you know, the rogue wants to pay off the city guard, and the city guard is thinking, like, yeah, I'll take it. And then the city guard's captain comes up and is like, what are you two talking about? And then boom, just break away from that tension generating thing, right? Because now the city guard's coming up, the paladin's like, hey, what are you guys talking about? And breaking away from that tension so that you're like, well, what's going to happen? Well, don't know yet. Let's talk to this other person. Vince, what's going on there? Yeah, Prue says, for example, in an urban environment, the socially adept members go gather intel in one way, the rogue in another. There are plenty of great reasons to split up both players and adversaries. And why wouldn't adversaries want to talk to different players at different times, right? To get the player characters to do what you want, it's going to take a different conversation with the paladin, let's say, than with the rogue. The rogue, you could convince them with favors and connections or black market goods, whereas the paladin, maybe the adversary wants to convince them with doing the right thing. Maybe we should be together and go on the right path together. And a very charismatic adversary wouldn't want to have them both in the same room because that one conversation would not go very well having them both together, you know. And yeah, Vince says you don't really have to have an evil character to have fun with side quests for yourself. Maybe it's important for your backstory. Yeah, Vince, we're talking this entire week, we're talking about splitting the party in all the permutations you have thereof. There's another, okay, I hate to diverge off of this, but I will bring this up. This will absolutely be great for tomorrow as well. Jared says, we've been live in 3 minutes for 15 minutes. Yeah. The Blades in the Dark has a great mechanic. It's just basically a reframing where you're able to make a wait, what happened? Does it see? I don't see that. I've been streaming for 19 minutes. If you're not getting the stream, I'm not sure. I've gone live already. I don't know why it says we've been live in 3 minutes for 15 minutes already. I don't know. Sorry about that, JP, if you're getting that. Refreshing. See, I had to do that with the chat. I had to refresh it just to get my chat back, and it happened to me twice. So that kind of sucks. Alex C says, giving the rogue player time to converse without fumbling is not fun. I wanted the rogue to fumble on their words when facing the captain. Yeah. Well, I wouldn't mean to take away that tension when the rogue's like, hey, listen, that's I'm just making that up as in terms of splitting the party. But the idea of blades in the dark, if I can make this short, and I usually can't, is that players want to get bonuses on their actions, and what they frame it is that when you make these rolls to get a bonus on your actions, what you're doing is you're flashing back to a scene in which one or more of the player characters have accomplished something to give them a bonus or possibly a penalty in what they're doing in present day. So an example would be the player characters come to the city guard. The rogue winks at the city guard winks back. The player characters walk in the front door, and the PCs go about their business. The paladin looks at the rogue and goes, what happened there? How that's framed is the player character says, hey, I want to convince the city guard. The rogue makes the roll to convince the city guard, and then the flashback is now we're going to describe what happened in the past to get you that bonus to get through past the city guard. So then you role play a little scene. The rogue says, hey, guess what? The day before, I had a talk with the city guard. You have a little role play with the city guard. The city guard's like, listen, don't let my captain find out. Pass a couple of coins. Listen, when you come back tomorrow, I'll let you through, right? With your weapons and everything. Don't worry about it. Then we go away from the flashback. We come back to this very moment. Go to the city guard. City guard just waves everyone through, and they go about their business. It sounds strange, but it's actually it's just a reframing of a very simple mechanic, which is like a die roll, right? It could just be a very simple skill roll, but you could frame it as a flashback. Like, no, actually, you were split from the party at a point in the past. We are just living with the results of what happened to now from what your character did on your own in the past to get this done. It would be the equivalent of, hey, I want to help everyone climb up into a second story window. In 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons, if you help someone climb, you can give them advantage. You could do a flashback. Well, what I did was I set up crates and boxes and a ladder for everyone to climb up to the second story window, right, as a flashback to get the advantage that you have right now. I know I know I'm going off on that. Okay, anyway, so it is a Monster Monday. So Jared says splitting the party is excellent. Divide and conquer, an important aphorism for any GM. And Vincent says when you don't have a normal initiative order, you can even do that in a normal fight. Do a quick scene with one or two characters, switch to another, switch back when they interact, etc. Yep, and the initiative works when you split the party as well. And of course, the splitting back and forth, because we see this. Think of any of your favorite like action movies or something, especially when you have more than one person in the action. The Avengers movies, you have Hawkeye doing something, fighting, I was going to say Scarlet Witch, Black Widow, and then then in the background we see Black Panther fighting Scarlet Witch, and then we see Iron Man fighting and we switch back and forth, and then at some point you'll see them cross and interact, and then they'll split off again. So when Spider-Man's trying to trip a giant-sized Ant-Man, he ends up splitting off and then fighting Captain America and using that in combat to in terms of splitting where they're being attacked. Maybe Aragorn is being dragged away by the warg that's running away, and then Legolas is like shooting arrows at the other orcs that are fighting them, and just being able to, when someone's combat actions are taking a long time to allow the player to get a chance to think about it, and maybe even for the DM, you as a DM to maybe you're getting a little confused or getting a little too deep into it, to give you a breather, you can just move to other action that might be simpler. Like, hey, I'm just going to swing my sword. I'm going to stab it with my spear, and then come back to the complex action, which might be spell casting, or, the warlocks trying to use their abilities, or the sorcerers got to figure out how they're going to use their chaos magic or something. And then coming back to it, not initiative wise, but time wise, to allow the person to rationalize exactly what they're going to do. And then that sets up the tension of, is that spell going to go off? Is that ability going to go off? The player wants to sabotage something. I'm not sure how I'm going to use these rules. And that gives you a little break to come back to it and then allow those things to happen. Vincent says, when it comes to monsters, I like having different objectives, which may also lead to splitting the group. So, for example, you have to free some animals, which the monster likes to eat, to distract it. Or you can defeat the monster by getting inside it, so a part of the group has to get themselves swallowed. That's an excellent thing, an excellent tool, because let's say, for example, there's a dangerous monster that's standing in front of something magical, something high tech that the players need to get to. It's the shadow run. Let's make a distraction while the hacker has to get to the hard, plug into a specific terminal. And so the action is happening one where you're distracting the creatures or separating them, maybe having the creatures follow part of the party members so that the player characters can get to the dragon egg, or get through the closed gate that the great beast is in front of, or distract the orc horde, have them chase you so you can get to their their encampment that has prisoners, and that would be separating the party, right? Some of the players are like, hey, the bard and rogue are going to seek into the camp to free the prisoners, while the paladin and barbarian are going to stand way outside of the camp and make a whole bunch of noise to draw the enemies towards them. And of course, doesn't mean there has to be an exact division, like every single person goes after one party member and not the other. But it could be that, hey, we want to draw all of the enemies towards us. Foolish Kiwi says, that's exactly why I do the 7 to 10 minutes bit. If you cut on the tension-filled dialogue moments, it makes the game feel very cinematic, like a show, and the players feel the tension from the other's situation. Yeah, how did it cut the letter N off? Whatever. That's come on, chat, really? But no, you make an excellent point there, Foolish Kiwi, about the 7 to 10 minutes bit. Like, if you even though I get players and dungeon masters not wanting to cut away from a tense situation, right? Like, they're, you and the players, maybe there's 2 players engaged in like some heavy RP, and they're coming, or maybe it's like a tense action moment. But something has to be said for why television shows place commercials where they do. The car flips over, the heroes are driving down the road, they go off the road, the car flips, goes down the embankment, and commercial, right? We don't know whether they survived. We don't know if someone got flung out of the car. We don't know. And then when we come back from commercial, which would be coming back from someone else's spotlight, when we come back, maybe, the main character's hanging by, vines, even though the car fell 300 feet. They only fell 20 feet and are hanging by vines or something. Or someone fell down the crevice and now their leg is trapped inside the car, and there's gasoline leaking. Like, that gives a chance to come up with some cool and fun and dramatic moments by actually breaking away from the tension and then coming back to it. Alex C says, better than a wizard with a trigger finger shooting off a fireball in a bat cave. Yeah, exactly. There's always a trigger happy wizards doing those kind of things. I don't know why. That's a thing. That's just a trope. Scott Poe says, if I had a random opportunity predator to combat, they either have a lair right there, someone can stumble into, or snatch a random creature and make off to kill them alone. And that can be played a number of ways, right? Like, it's the the scouting character comes across a random predator, or the PCs have split the enemy, or the enemies have split the PCs, and a random predator is kind of triggered to come towards the party. So it could be a beast in the woods that hears this fight with the orcs and the orc horde and the party members, and they're trying to rescue captives that are in the encampment, and something else comes after them. It's the sneaking into camp and alerting the guard dogs kind of thing. And you can have different special types of, oh yeah, absolutely, Fat Ninja, special types of encounters where, okay, the one group is fighting the humanoids, the other group are fighting like their mounted, their pets, their evil dog-like pets. 15-minute commercials for a 5-minute show. Boo. Excuse me. Yeah, I know. I hate that too, though. It's like you're watching the show. It's like, another commercial? Seriously? Deadman says Twitter-based comments have 200 character limit in each comment. Yeah, I know. I've read a ton of comments where it's like it's three chat pushes long, kind of like that's how they split it. I hate that. Just to let you guys know, myself and Fat Ninja DM, who is part and parcel an administrator, let's say, a instructor over at the Fantasy Grounds College, we will be talking tomorrow, and we will be talking about, because this actually has to do with splitting the party. This might have to do about splitting the gaming community. I know it's kind of stretching it a little bit, but we're going to have a deep and probably very productive conversation about Fantasy Grounds, because Fantasy Grounds is gathering quite a number of new participants who want to get involved in using Fantasy Grounds, who've left Roll20, and the drama that entails. I'm not a very big let's talk about drama kind of person, but for those who have never seen me, some people have only heard my voice, they've never actually seen my face. They may not realize that I'm African American and I'm in the States, and what my particular opinion is of the drama with this gentleman over at Roll20 dealing with some of the most prolific content creators in our very small RPG community. So we're going to talk about that tomorrow. All positive stuff, all good stuff. Please don't tune out just because you think if you feel like you're going to be triggered some kind of way, I would guess please don't tune in. But if you want an adult conversation with some people who are open and collective and together, join in tomorrow, because that's going to be part and parcel of this whole series this week about splitting party. All right, back. Alex C says, split up and then take 15 commercial breaks, play for 5 minutes and another break. Sometimes that's how it feels when the party splits from time to time. That's really that's a real huge problem, right? Like when you split the party, what ends up happening is you're splitting people's time and attention. So it's very difficult to keep people's attention unless it like directly impacts them. That's very hard. One small way of doing it is having the actions of one party member or members that are split off have a direct effect on the other party members. So what I mean is if there are party members on top of a cliffside and there's some at the bottom, if the actions of those at the top of the cliffside will cause an avalanche that might affect those at the bottom, the ones at the bottom that are waiting for the actions to take place at the top are going to be sitting there waiting for the end result to see if they're going to be affected by it. It's the party members in the ocean fighting the sharks and the party members on the upper mass of the ship fighting the flying creatures are those two might have effects. Will someone fall off the ship into the water? Will someone on the deck of the ship be able to pull the people in the water out of the water from the sharks? Are the flying creatures going to destroy our sails? So by having different objectives, and what Vince said earlier, having different objectives can affect some party members or the other. So will the paladin and the barbarian fighting the orc horde, will they be affected by the freeing of the captives in the camp? If the captives are free, does that mean the horde is going to split off and go, hey, we need to go after the captives instead of being distracted by fighting these guys? We have to go after them. Vincent Shine says, I like the dynamic that Astrocetus created in combats, because I like to mix ship combat with action inside the ship caused by ship combat through invaders, breaches. That's a weird topic. I really don't get it. Maybe it's because I am German. I don't see this as such a big deal, and certainly not racist. He's just very bad at advertising. Dude, I feel you. I know you're two different subjects. I know exactly what you're feeling. We're going to talk about that tomorrow. I absolutely positively just feel that someone used the wrong words with I think it has to do with passion and objectives, and maybe a little bit of not doing the job very well. I don't think it's a bigger picture, but we of course are going to talk about a bigger picture and how it does with the role-playing community locally and worldwide, stuff like that. Just us, we like to sit down and talk about these things just off the cuff. There's always going to be someone in the chat that's got a great outlook, including yourself, man. So yeah. It's dead man. Vince, see the show Expanse for examples of that. The Expanse is a great example of internal ship activity versus external versus modern and future examples of splitting the party is always a big deal, where you have a starship and some people are on the outside of the hull, some people are inside. You have to worry about whether the hull is pierced, and people are explosive decompression and gravity fluctuations and radiation, and people being the classic starship / submarine situation where the bulkhead slams shut and you have one party member on one side of the door and somebody else on the other side of the door. A habitat catches fire and the door slams shut and someone's trapped in a burning room and someone isn't. Someone's using their magnetic boots to climb on the outside of the ship, and at the same time they're being fired on by enemies or photon torpedoes or something. Great way to have split attention as someone's piloting while somebody else is hunting through the ship, while at the same time they're being boarded, while at the same time cables are being attached to the ship and they're being pulled close or something. Scott Post says, we're going through some weird times in the US right now, Vincent. Yeah, it's a shame too, right? It's in some ways it's petty. We're going to save that for tomorrow. Sorry. Alex C says, kill the flying creature quick and hard so he can drop in the water so the sharks go for the blood against the overboard players' time. You know what? See, now that's a player that's got a great idea to just ruin my excellent encounter there. That's where I fold my arms and go, this is stupid. I hate this role-playing game. No, that's what a perfect way for a perfect example of setting up a situation that could be really complex. Everyone's worried about what's going on. And one person, Alex C, comes along and goes, guys, it's easy. Just kill the flying creatures. The sharks go after them and the players get the hell out of there. I would absolutely let that happen. I mean, die rolls notwithstanding. Hey, you succeed on that, I'd be like, that is sweet as shit. That's awesome. Let it happen. What a great way to solve a problem. What a challenge to put in front of players, and then have someone come up with a great idea like Alex C just came up with concerning that particular situation. I'd let that happen. And hell, I'm not going to run out of encounters. I just make up no ones. Vince says, I will keep using Roll20 for sure. I just hope they don't shoot themselves in the knee. I think it was that one guy. I don't think there's anything wrong with Roll20. I think it was Roll20 is suffering the punishment of one individual, I think is what's happening. The Expanse is definitely the watch list. Vincent says, Prue says inside and outside of a mansion is good too. The sneaking into and drawing adversaries outside of a mansion, an office building, a guild house, a city state, is a great thing. Getting the classic assaulting the castle, right? You got the castle walls where there are defenders inside the castle and drawing the enemies outside of the castle walls out into the open field to fight them, and then having some PCs sneak over the castle walls, maybe to try to open the doors and distract the people defending the castle with attacks from, launching attacks over the walls and whatnot, is a great splitting the party kind of encounter. Vincent says, I actually thought this would be a basic idea here. Force the flying creatures to fall into the water, take care of the problem. Yep. Same. Just the building inside of a ship. Mechanics would be the same. Yeah. Oh, sorry, guys. Just read through the chat. Alex says, oh, damn, sucks to be the one that critically fails their deck save when a shutter door collapses. Yeah, getting your hand stuck in there. Oh, there goes your arm. Or, well, that'd be a new way to split the party, right? The pneumatic door splits the PC in half, and like, oh, too bad, you crit failed. You're now two people. Foolish Kiwi says splitting the party is also a good technique when dealing with defending the castle rather than assaulting it. Having players set up different traps and choke points. Exactly. So maybe some players are the distraction, right, to get the enemy to assault the castle from one direction, so that maybe allies could sneak around, leaving the castle to come behind the enemy, or maybe the enemy is allowed to come through, let's say, the main courtyard, and the PCs are there to confront the enemy to distract them, while other PCs are set up at like high points, or like you said, choke points. Ancient Japanese castles were set up that way, where they were like maze-like, where they had these different choke points and murder holes and things like that, so that enemies would be forced down these like narrow pathways and switchbacks and such. And the PCs could do that, where maybe one set of PCs sets up something like they're fighting in fog, or setting up smoke or some kind of distraction, and other PCs can go around the back, or even split the enemy up kind of to get them to separate, because maybe the pieces are more effective separate. The mage with all the the fireball and all those kind of things might be effective in one place, maybe the big courtyard, whereas like the rogues, the bards of the group or what have you, the barbarians are maybe good in a more narrow locations, and want to get them. Maybe the wizard is blasting a bunch of the enemy to get them to run down these narrow corridors and dead end areas. Maybe barriers are set up and have them attack that way. So yeah, I can see that. Vincent says, I would actually love to have a game where one of the players can be some kind of commander or operator that supports the group by tracking enemies and giving directions. What a great way to play a bard, right? Like either being standing above or floating above, or being on a radio, looking at like some kind of like heads up display. We're going to actually get into that with you guys. I think are going to really love when we get into that on Future Friday, where we talk about like the hacker, the mech pilot, the teleoperator that controls maybe UAVs, drones, robots from a distance. Maybe not even, they could even be up to hundreds of miles away. The classic the pilots in the air while some people are on a aircraft carrier or starship or something, and controlling or being able to see combat from different angles and from different locations, and able to create advantages where someone can see something from above, like a drone pilot, or even one of the PCs is maybe in power armor and they have a drone above them, or a PC is a ranger and they're or a wizard and their familiar is flying above. We're able to see something that someone else cannot. And so even though they are split apart, they're able to give some kind of tactical advantages because of what they can see versus what someone else cannot see. Flying PCs. Scott Poe says flying PCs grant a new problem. They can scout quite well and get superior range position, even if they land on one. And a new benefit, creatures that otherwise would have not seen them now follow. So, right. So if it's flying is like one of the like top 3 most hated abilities that game masters hate for PCs to have. Teleportation being another one. Super senses. A number of super senses is probably your 3rd most hated ability. But flying is one of those abilities that's like just absolutely everyone hates, except for the fact that it makes you a great target, especially if you have one flying PC and there's like multiple flying enemies. That makes them a target. But just like in the Avengers movie, you've got Iron Man flying around and he's, blasting around at Mach speeds, but then he gets chased by a ton of robots or aliens on cycles or something like that. And that quote unquote, splits that PC away, maybe because, hey, I'm going to, take the albino goblins on their, dark ravens and fly away and have them fly away because maybe they're pelting my player character, my allies with spears and javelins, and they can't, the barbarian can't reach them with his axe. So I'm going to draw them away and fly around the top of the castle while they, assault the walls or something. Or maybe the enemy is sending flying creatures in like wyverns or something. And, wyverns, whatever you want to call them. And, the flying PC, its job is not to defeat them, but to draw them away until the other player characters get a chance to help them out. Or even the flying PC could even draw them down a narrow alleyway, which lowers their maneuverability, and then maybe the barbarian can then attack them from the ground or something. Alex C, of course, says, to deal with flyers is to have flyers on their asses. On their asses. Sorry, I just butchered that, really. Foolish QB says, flying is fine. If a DM can't figure out how to plan around someone who can just move up and down, then they're just not using their noodle. Exactly. Besides, if you have one PC that can fly, don't tell me that there isn't at least one other thing that can fly in your world for any reason. That just doesn't make any sense, right? If you've got a winged PC or a PC with the magic of flight, there's got to be something else that flies in the world. Whatever. I think it's foolish too. Prue says, if we're looking at monsters again, a lot of animals have pack tactics where they work on splitting off one or two of their prey from the safety of a crowd. And if you've ever seen I love Animal Planet documentary types. And that's a technique that many pack animals use, right? They split off the slowest one, the weakest one. They split off the one that's the back of the party. They like to split off a herd to break up the herd, which would be breaking up the PCs to attack them. So, there's a dangerous creature in the woods that uses spiders. And so some of the spiders use webs to block off different areas of this dark wood. One of the spiders trying to entrap some of the PCs, the other spider, swarm of spiders trying to chase another PC off into another part of the woods. And then again, using what we already had a suggestion, using no more than 7 to 10 minutes to deal with, okay, you're fighting a swarm of fist-sized spiders. You're fighting a giant spider that's like 13 feet tall. Oh, you're fighting 2 spiders the size of 2 killer dogs. Oh, and then there's the evil druid that controls the spiders. You're fighting them in this other section. Not only is it a wood, maybe the woods are filled with fog, or the wood is there's a narrow hill, and there's a ravine, and then there's a little cliffside, and there's something else, and slipping up muddy hillside, as Scott Poe just says. Exactly. It's just there's so many techniques. In the chat, Foolish Kiwi says gravity is one hell of a drug when it kicks in. That anti-magic cone. That's all I'm saying. Exactly. Poo says plenty of assassins and political adversaries use that one too. JP says flying is great, except there's no cover in the sky. Yep. Also, flying is a great way to the party gets split. Yep, exactly. Of course, Dead Man says arrows fly. Yeah, there's a lot of dangerous things that fly through the air. Yeah. Alex C says, yeah, that flying PC needs to concentrate. Absolutely. And I know it's not in the rules. Let's take it easy. But if you're a winged creature, getting your wings clipped, even temporarily, is a thing as well. Get hit hard enough, make that con roll, make that save, make that, I don't know what system you're using, skill roll or something like that. Being grappled, getting a net thrown over you if you're flying. Scott Post says, fight on a large muddy hillside. Anyone who gets a 10 or less on an attack roll slides 5 feet down the hillside. Closer to something waiting to eat them. I love, here we go with the environment. There you go. You just you poked my pleasure center. Oh yes, you did. And that's the environment is a great way to split the party too. The muddy hillside where everyone, some are like, it's like one for every motion up, you're like sliding 2 down, and people are sliding into and out of danger from something below them to try to get to safety above. A raging river does that. Avalanches can do that. Hurricane winds can do that, and especially hurricane winds against flying creatures. Hello, can snatch people. So maybe the barbarian's fighting the big beast until that raging river snatches the beast downriver to the weakling halfling or something, or the ranger is trying to pop arrows at the beast on the muddy hill, but the ranger starts slipping downhill towards the beast, and it's like, whoa, I don't want to get within melee range of this thing. I'm better at ranged attacks or something. Vincent says having burrowing enemies is another great way to split the group. Let's go after them, but only small races fit into the tunnels. Yeah, and dude, I'm writing a whole big thing about that with the new Subterranean book. I'm still writing, of course. But yeah, having burrowing animals. The classic purple worm. What's the other one? The boulet. Those are creatures that are the burrowing into cover and out of cover and following them into their havens. And then do you really want to get down on your hands and knees or crawl along on your elbows after like a land shark? I mean, is that really sane? Or a purple worm, or what are some other burrowing creatures? Earth elementals, Zorns. There's some other classic ones. I can't even think of too many of them. But yeah, and then there might be some now remember, there's some player characters that are actually pretty good at the whole burrowing thing. You got your dwarven, there's a background or something, or archetype that's like, fighting under that is perfect for fighting in the deep dark underground, the underdark and whatnot. But there are some that are better at it than others. So those people left on the surface waiting for something to burst through the ground and come after them and drag them down into the ground. It's pretty bad. You could even have things where they're fighting on the ground. You got burrowing animals. Maybe some of those predators weaken the ground underneath them, so they fall into these deep crevices, and so maybe half the party's above and the other half falls down into the deep crevice, and then when they fall into the pit, some creatures start to attack them in the pits. And do you fight something that's above you while you're trying to help your PCs that are hanging below your allies? What do? I love that kind of thing. Having an area that only the small characters in your party could fit into, into to do some sort of reconnaissance is also always fun. The burrows would have made great spies. Yeah, this was cool. Foolish Kiwi says, yeah, we had the same idea at the same time, Vince. Yeah, and great minds, you know what I mean? Alex C says, if you play a Ankeg right, you can have it burst out and grapple a player and heads back down. Creatures can grapple too. Exactly. Ankhegs, that's right. Ankhegs are pretty nasty things too. Spitting acid. They're swarming. So you know they can overpower like the big burly people, while the small ones can chase the lesser able characters away. They can drag them down underground. They can do the the ultimate party split. Lady of Pain mazes you. Fey creatures, illusions. We can go back to that point, right, where the party is split by arcane powers. Virtual high with Kiwi. Yeah. Yeah, you could have a thing where the players have to psychologically get out of a thing, figure their way out of a maze to get back to their party members, right? It's the, an arcane maze is placed around every single party member. Every single party member is split. And in order to get out of it, it's a matter of physically using common sense, like I'm going to get my way out of this maze, or it could be a psychological maze. They have to fight past their own demons or guilts or fears or something to quote unquote get back to their other player characters. Maybe someone has a fear of heights, someone has a fear of drowning, someone has a fear of public embarrassment, someone has a fear of spiders, and they have to get back to the party. They have to fight against a particular fear. They have to navigate through something to get back. Vincent says, switch between metaplanes like spirit world, shadow world, etc. Interact with each other. Some energy might only be vulnerable from another metaplane. So yes, someone could be on the plane, like a metaplane of air, while another player is like on a metaplane of shadow, and another player is like a metaplane of dreams or storms or electricity or something. And maybe the plane of shadows can help defend someone that's in the plane of light and energy or something. And if they can navigate through one, making their saves, their skill checks, their attribute checks, their abilities, their arcana rolls or something, they're able to get back to their other player characters. Maybe there's a deeper connection between them all, an emotional connection between all the PCs. And it's the in a modern context, this could be the typical virtual reality where everyone is plugged into a virtual reality and they have to navigate through the virtual reality to get back. Alex C says, most creatures with natural attacks, such as a bite, grapples, or on a successful hit, kind of dumb for a creature to bite and release. Yeah, who says creatures can't attack? I actually, I have a book from a successful Kickstarter that was about monster grappling. But creatures have strength; they can grapple. There's nothing saying that just because a creature doesn't have the ability to grapple doesn't mean they wouldn't do it. Like you said, any creature that bites and has claws grapples. I mean, that's how they eat. So yeah, having them grapple. There's also the ability to push or shove or drag PCs. I think it's a strength. What is it in 5th edition? It's strength versus strength. Winner pushes or pulls 5 feet, right? Who's to say that Ankhegs pull you 5 feet down underground, pull you 5 feet over a cliffside, pull you 5 feet in the air, pull you 5 feet further underwater, pull you 5 feet from the shore into the raging river, pull you 5 feet down into the swamp by the alligator. You know what I mean? All those things are great ways to split the party and to have the PCs have to choose whether they should be split or not. Foolish Kiwi says, having a villain who knows the party purposely retreated to get to the hot-headed berserker to chase him into an ambush or capture. Smart NPCs will absolutely do that. And good players will fall into it even if they kind of see it coming. it's the classic barbarian running off to attack the enemy, and then finding out that the enemy purposefully wanted the barbarian to run off. Like you said, the hot-headed one. Um, Absolutely. And how great would it be that the bestial, the barbarian, is sent to run off to actually fight air, you know what I mean? Fight something that disappears into the mist, because the actual big creature or big baddie or whatever knows the barbarian is rough, knows that they're going to be ambushed, so they can ambush the party to get the big guns away from the weaker members. I hate to say weaker, but you guys know what I'm talking about. Jenny says, how about a player sent to jail? The classic, we're going to break our ally out of jail, is a great splitting the party. One of the PCs in jail, trying to get the keys, trying to get a guard, trying to defend themselves against other prisoners in jail, while others try to break into the jail or sneak in or use disguises. That's great. Yeah, Vincent says, in Blades in the Dark, it's possible to have side adventures in prison and even support the group out of prison. There are mechanics for all of that. Blades in the Dark is a great game that reframes the narrative in a very using just very simple classic mechanics, but reframes it in such a way that makes it very new. Blades in the Dark, 3 thumbs up for that. Scott Post says, Jenny, you made me think of another ultimate split. The Face Your Inner Demon alone challenge. Magic or dungeon architecture could make it happen. That is a great trope. You don't want to use it all the time, but the Face Your Inner Demon challenge is a great way to split the party. And here's I would say that this is probably extremely difficult to do, but this could be a way for you as a DM to go back and forth when some players are not involved in combat at all for any reason, while another player is involved in heavy combat. Let me give an example. The rogue is in the city. The rogue is dealing with being hunted by thugs and assassins. The paladin is back at the ranch, back at the inn, and they are just assembling their goods. They're buying goods and services or something, or they go to their local church.
Have a great day. Love you.
Hey, love you, babe. Have a good one. The idea would be that the paladin is having their own challenge, psychological challenge, their own soliloquy, if you will, their own spotlight in dealing with their own guilt about what they did on the adventure, having their own die rolls, their own RP, and then going back to the tension of the rogue going, damn it, I wish the paladin was here with me, as they run across the city rooftops away from thugs and assassins. You know what I mean? Like, I know that doesn't sound like it would be the same type of tension. Combat is one thing, maybe mental, and diving deep into like some kind of mental guilt kind of thing might not be, but for a mature group, I think it's possible to do it. I think let's put it this way. It's a tool you can put in your toolbox and pull out if you're really stuck for something. Janny absolutely says that would require a good player. I absolutely agree with you, Janny. Alex C says have the barbarian run into a puzzle while the weaker PCs go into a room that requires strength. And another great way to accent people's specialties. That would be a great way to take advantage of the weaknesses of the party, but at the same time accent their strengths. Like the barbarian that can't figure out the puzzle, and the weaker players that can't, I don't know, push the stone or fight against the big monster or lift the heavy gate, goes to say, hey, my PC would be great in this situation, but I'm not there. And the smart PC is like, man, I could easily get out of that puzzle, that maze or whatever, and you can't. That's a great way to do that. And maybe it's a great way to not force, to entice the dumber characters to want to have the smarter characters around. I need you for me to survive. Like, I'm not the loner. I need to do those kind of things. That'd be great. And what a great way, what a great Batman defeats the Justice League plan. I don't know if you guys know that from the graphic novel / animated series, where there's a graphic novel where an evil person breaks into the Batcave, uses Batman's plans to take out the entire Justice League. And one by one, everyone, and Batman has these plans, and everyone's like, Batman, why would you do such a thing? And Batman's response is, I got to go back to the drawing board because it shouldn't have taken them that long to take you guys out, right? And I think he even said something to the effect of, there's even something there to take me out if I ever go bad or something. Anyway, Scott Poe says, start off with a puzzle that they all have to stand in an alcove to open the gate. Only then all the alcoves spin and they all face a corridor. Now they're split. Vincent says, oh yeah, having a parallel dungeon would be awesome. Some way to communicate, and they have to give information to one another or activate mechanics to help the other group. Yeah, like Scott just said, going down different like alcoves or parallel things where the barbarian has to figure out how to get through a maze or move a puzzle like a Rubik's type cube to move this puzzle to get out, whereas the other PCs might be trapped behind a series of metal gates that they have to lift up, and they don't know how to lift it up. But if they use a certain technique or work together, something, or maybe they have to talk the barbarian through so that the barbarian can come help them out. Prue says, I love the chance to let each character shine, and splitting the party can help with that, especially if you have players in your group who don't take up a lot of space in the group. Splitting can help. Having a combat where the bard now has to talk down a creature or talk someone away from the ledge, or the combat ready characters are doing something, but the intelligent character, the mage, has to help the PCs, or the hacker has to help the PCs figure their way through something. Maybe there's a factory that's always releasing robots, or there's a portal that's constantly releasing demons. Yeah, the combat characters can fight them off, but that's not solving the issue. We need to close the portal. You smart guys, you go off this direction to figure out how to close the portal, whether it's moving the stones in the right direction, or reading the scroll, or pouring the chemicals into the vat or something, while we tougher characters fight off the enemy. Foolish Kiwi says, exactly, it can let the players shine, and is often a first step in them being more open role playing. That's how I see it, Prue. Yeah, I agree with you guys. Vincent said there's a cool co-op riddle game which you can only play with another player, and you can only communicate via walkie-talkie and have to describe things you see to the other player to advance. It is called We Were Here. I didn't know that, but that's another challenge too, to have the barbarian describe a puzzle to the wizard. Like, maybe a wizard who sees a Rubik's Cube for the first time with an 18 intelligence figures it out after like 5 minutes, right? But the barbarian's like, what the hell is this thing? And has to describe it to the wizard. That would be a great thing to do, while the bard tries to help everybody over like the telepathic link or the microphones or what have you, the television screens. Like, no, okay, move to the left. No, the creature's always going to go for your neck. Duck down when he leans to his right side. You know what I mean? Like, you can have things like that. The barbarian's like, oh, I want to be on the other side of this wall. Get me there, please. Tesla Ranger says, sounds like keep talking and nobody explodes. Don't know the game. I wish we could put links into the chat. You can't put a link to those things. So, but the Discord, you can actually put those links in. So yeah, I'll do that. Man, lots of cool ideas for dungeons in there. Watching a parallel let's play is definitely worth it. Very hard. Again, splitting the party is a tough thing, right? Because in many ways, like the dungeon master, you're the gatekeeper. You're the one that says, okay, I'm done with you for right now. I'm going to switch over to these other people. And that can be a little diffusing to some players, because some players really want to beg for your attention, and not in a rude way, right? Like they may not know it, like they're just passionate, like, I want to see this through. I'm the rogue that's escaping the assassins and thugs running across the rooftops. I want to play through the whole scene, and you know, two combats into it, you're like, okay, you're gonna have to make a skill roll to jump across this rooftop. If you do, they have to come after you, So we've got to make, like, contests of athletics or something to run across these rooftops. And you say, okay, I get a bonus for this, right? And like, yeah, you get the bonus, but you look that up. I'm going to move over to the paladin who's sitting back at the household, and the rogue player's like, I want to make this roll. Come on. Juggling that, having good players that are willing to sit back and see what happens. Maybe the paladin hears the footsteps running across the rooftop of the inn and gets involved in it while they're sitting there praying to the gods, or having a flashback of the scene or something like that in their own head. As I flash back to something said earlier in the chat, we those things are absolutely possible. Sorry about that. Foolish Kiwi says the biggest thing is making sure you're descriptive and engaging enough that even the people that aren't in the scene are super interested and invested in what's going on. And isn't that the key? Isn't that something that I think we could end today, and is a lesson that we all could use from here on, is to make sure we're descriptive and engaging, add a little passion in there too. When it's DM's turn, you're into the creatures. I want to succeed. I want to take you down. I want to get you. I want to fool you. I want to attack you. But when it's the PC side, you're their fan, right? You're going back and forth. Oh man, you really don't want to miss this roll. I hope you make it. You sure that's the idea you want to use? That's a great idea. We're going to see how this works. Like, be their fan, be their supporter, and in a way, like dangling a little bit of a treat. The person that's waiting, being so invested in what their allies are doing, that they want some of that energy to come over to them. Like, oh man, I want to see how this goes. Like they're invested in it too. Lastly, I will see, when it comes to monsters, this isn't good for everyone, but I have seen this used to great effect. Having mindless creatures, especially really mindless ones, the animalistic ones, hand them over to your players. As a DM, let them run those creatures for you against your other PCs. I had a great time when we did a years ago, did a post-apocalyptic kind of game, and the PCs ran the zombies, and so you had your own character, and then it was me and two other DMs. But anyway, we handed out random zombie packs to people, so that when PCs were separated, you played the zombies. Now, of course, it's almost like perfect. Vincent says, I posted, we were here in the Discord. Thank you. Inside player versus player. Yeah, because first of all, the players playing the zombie, and this is just an example we could use for a bigger thing, but the players playing the zombies, they're playing mindless things that could easily be hacked away, right? Shot, cut up, whatever, right? But also, it allowed them to basically go wild, right? Yeah, I'm going to be a zombie and jump off the minivan and try to bite you. Yeah, I'm going to be the zombie and try to grapple you and pull you down. I'm going to make those rolls and stuff. And it was player versus player, but like fun, because it wasn't their own character. Who cares if the zombies died? Whatever. It's the zombie hordes. We all know they're going to get blasted away, right? But Alex C says, have them have their own initiative group, right? So instead of all 38 zombies acting on initiative 12, you have 4 PCs. They each have their own 4 group of zombies or dinosaurs or giant snakes or living oozes or whatever, and that have split the party. They each have their own initiative, their own roles. The PCs take their own hit points, their own saving throws. leaving the game master to help run the game and just give the PCs just a very simple, your job is to attack the living thing that's near you. Your job is to pin the PCs into the corner. Prue says, love it, because my players wouldn't pull punches at all. I don't know many players that would. And why not pull the punches? Especially, come on now, zombies, who cares how many you kill? The PCs who's running the horde is like, I've got 12 of them in my horde. Oh, you took out 3 of them. Don't worry, I'll still get you. I'm gonna instead do a grapple attack on you, or blah blah blah, or I'm gonna pin you down, or I'm gonna try to snatch one of his weapons away from his hand. Can I do that as a zombie? Yeah, you get a disadvantage, but you can do it anyway. Let's say 5th edition again. It's going to be disadvantage, but you can try to separate his weapon away, or you've got to hit him first and then make a strength versus strength roll to disarm him. It's like, I don't care. I'm a zombie. It doesn't matter to me. I'm going to make the roll. That kind of thing. And you're the game master. You're not going to run out of creatures. Who cares if they all die? Who cares if the PCs do dumb things with them? Hey, I'm going to have my zombies walk through the wall of fire. You've got more. You've got greater ideas. And if it doesn't work, ball it up, throw it away, delete it off your Google Doc and go for something else. But yeah, having the PCs control your NPCs, even some of your creatures and whatnot is a great way to, when one player is not involved in the action, the paladin who's praying at the church and not involved in the action with the rogue could play some of the little mindless, dumb thugs chasing the rogue across the rooftops. And just give them, you don't even have to give any of your plot away. Your job is, you're a hired thug, you go after the rogue. And the rogue is like, I need to get out of here, being chased or something. The game master, you can still control your named PCs, your named NPCs, your powerful villains. But controlling like a swarm of rats or spiders or something, give that to one of the other players. Let them do the work. Let them control the hit points, the paralyzed conditions and tracking all that crap. Let them do it. Jenny says some min-maxing guy's going to be immune, of course. Jared says, this deep dive is proudly sponsored by Google Docs. Get more done together today. Yeah, they need to be a sponsor of mine. Someone let them know that. Dead Man the Storyteller, he says, you can see Eclipse Phase book X Risks opening fiction termites in the framework for the use of telepathy and splitting the party. We're definitely going to do a deep dive by Friday into that, where some action is happening somewhere else, but like there's communication with other party members going on somewhere else as well. And even with using the idea of giving the PCs some of your enemies, I would still allow, like, the wizard can talk to the barbarian, and the wizard says, hey, to the barbarian, don't try to hack them down. Just push them off the cliffside. I can attack them when they fall off the cliff. I'm down here. You know what I mean? Like, and having them like use tactics while they yell back and forth to each other, even though the PCs are like rolling their dice and stuff together. That it could be a little complicated, but I think you could have some fun with it. Scotpo says, that's a great idea, DBJ. I put my monster on index cards already. I can just hand it to the players to run, especially your minion types. Hand them out and just say, listen, you're playing, you play the tigers that are hunting them now. You play the wolves, you play the goblins, you play the kobolds that are trying to trap them in their massive traps or something. I could see that. You're playing in mechs, and like, hey, you play the drones that the enemy is, has that patrol the area or something, or you play the robots. Vincent says, gotta go, guys. Until tomorrow. See you, Vince. And yeah, glad you were able to catch the stream. For some reason, I think you weren't notified. You as well, Scott, weren't notified about it. I don't know why YouTube does that, but they just do. But yeah, don't worry, I'll be here. Scott Foolish Kiwi says it can also be done without telepathy using magic, both spells, crystal balls. I even think there's a cantrip, the message spell. Maybe it's not very effective at back and forth communication, but I think even a message spell allows you to do that. And hell, I think bards. I hate. Okay, I don't hate. The idea of minstrels in combat is kind of silly to me, but I think bards and that bardic inspiration and having them bark out orders, whether as military commanders or people who are knowledgeable about what's going on, or just being encouraging to other players. The cleric with the guidance spell sounds like that too. Hey, why don't you move over here? Or let's rally together and do this thing. Like, I think the role-playing part of that is kind of lost. But I could imagine a bard being played as a military commander, although I think there is a military commander archetype of barking out orders, getting people done, transferring information, communicating one thing to another. Hey, the wizard says, do this thing. Oh, okay, I'll do this thing. Boom, I get advantage on my saving throw or something. Alex C says, give them the low-level guys while the DM deals with the, mini bosses or bosses. Absolutely. And for us, I think giving players the NPCs to use or the monsters to use is great for that person that gets bored real easily playing like one player character. Some people love just making PCs. There you go. Scott Poe says, I missed the 4E commander. That's it. The 4E commander that also could like kind of control the battlefield a little bit, creating different things on the battlefield. But anyway, yeah, some people just don't like playing the same character over and over again. That might be a good incentive. Maybe the person loves to play the rogue, but doesn't want to play the rogue every single time. If they're addicted to constantly creating new characters, maybe they play most of the NPCs. They play a lot of the monsters. They play them with a little bit of intelligence. You know what I mean? They might play them in a way that you weren't expecting. Hey, I'm going to give you 5 orcs and an orc chieftain, and your job is to assault travelers down the road. And maybe the PC goes, okay, I'm going to barter with them. I'm going to trade with them. I'm going to use ranged attacks. I'm going to attack them and then run and hide and then try to attack them again. And you as a game master go, I don't know, they're your orcs. You deal with them. You fight your own party members. Another way it could be a PC. A person joins the game but is unable to join the game all the time. So instead, their character are all the enemies, right? They're the minions. You hand them, hey, you're going to control the mummy, but you're going to hand them some skeletons, right? You control the skeletons. I know you can't be in the game all the time, so you can play some of the bad guys. And like, cool, I get to lay down, smack down on something. That'd be awesome. Alex C says the bard can be supportive yet brutal depending on the situation, like telling the barbarian to pull their head out of their ass, for example. Sometimes you need to lay a little smackdown to get some little guidance to get their asses moving, right? Yeah, that'd be awesome too. The bard that's like does nothing but kicks everybody's ass is like, you guys are stupid, get out of here. Like the coach just yelling at everybody for their bardic inspiration. That'd be awesome. The GM made us play each other's shadows in Wraith. It was great. Wraith is the game that does that. It specifically has the mechanic where your shadow, that evil part of you, that thing that like the part that wants to eat away at you is inside of you, and another player character plays that to work against your very actions. And that's part of the game. That's actually written in the game. The shadow has its own abilities and stuff. Wraith is a great game for those kind of psychological encounters. Yeah, I think Wraith is awesome for that. Scott Post says my last bard was a 10-10 bard warlock, but in combat, charm magic was my weapon of choice. And what a great way to use charisma-based role-playing effects. Like, yes, it's magic, and yes, we make saving throws, but a great way to use. It's not really splitting the party, but like some players are engaged in physical combat while others are talking their way out of combat, whether it's like, the vicious mockery thing. You're making fun of the enemy. You're trying to intimidate the enemy. You're telling them, hey, there's nowhere you can go. Look at my allies have you pinned down. You need to give up now, kind of thing, and having some charisma. social interaction while the other PCs are engaged in the physical actions. That's possible too. The PCs that aren't physical could be talking with the enemy, telling them to give up, to lay down their weapons, to join our side against the enemy, to let us know where the treasure is and we'll let you go, kind of thing, yelling over the battlements or something, or yelling through the locked door as the enemy tries to barricade themselves from the murder hobos or something. Those are ways to kind of split the party. I know we always go off on tangents. This one went kind of long as well. I know you guys can't sit around forever. I try to keep it to an hour. Some of you guys are on your lunch break, you're eating dinner, you're up at 3:00 in the morning. Scott, yeah, all those things. So, guys, thank you very much. This entire week, we're talking about splitting the party. Tomorrow, we're going to talk about, hey, splitting the role-playing community? Question mark? Maybe not really, but we're going to have an adult, open, honest, forthright discussion. And, of course, joining me will be a Fat Ninja DM, one of the faculty over at Fantasy Grounds College. Yeah, we'll talk about that tomorrow and the rest of the week, too. We're Alex, Scott posted, can't wait. Alex, he said, don't kill me. I'll tell you where the cream cheese is. I've got bagels. Where's the cream cheese? Where is it? Answer me. I don't know where that came from. Guys, thank you very much for joining me. The rest of the week, split the party. Thanks, Prue, for the idea. Any of you guys who have great ideas such as Prue, Prue has, we'll talk with it. I accepted the challenge. When Prue thought it up, I was like, I don't know what the hell I'm going to talk about, but challenge accepted. So any of you have like difficult things, like how the hell will we do that? I don't know. So guys, thank you very much. And I will end it with, I'm still trying to get my OBS studios done. There's this constant barrage of like tweaking everything because of the buffering. I just this constant buffers problem. So I'll keep tweaking it, get it ready. There's something special that I wanted to show you guys that involves everybody that's ever been in the chat ever, on my OBS Studios overlay. And I can't wait to show you, and I'm excited. And yeah, OBS deep dive. Yeah, Jared. This weekend or whatever, OBS. Okay. I will try to ping you privately and we'll talk about it. Not right now, but because I got 3 minutes to get ready. Yeah, we'll do an OBS deep dive. I've gone through quite a bit and played around with it. I've got a bunch of a graphic setup, overlays, things like that, things sliding and moving, and I think I have it where I want it to be. It's just getting it set up, man. The buffering. I think it's my internet. I don't think there's anything wrong with OBS or my computer or YouTube. I've got like 6 or 7 different things that I've uploaded to YouTube. They're private. You guys can't see it. And it's just buffer. And I keep moving all the sliders. We'll figure it out. Anyway, guys, good night, good morning, good night to all. As Alex C says, I will see you guys tomorrow. Thanks for joining me, guys. Amen. 4:30 a.m. Damn. Alex P's like, I don't know about you guys. I've just finished dinner. You guys have a very good one. I'll see you tomorrow.